As chairman of the Joint Special School Building Committee, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12 pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order and confirming that we are providing public access to the meeting by telephone with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means, and streaming live on Nashua ETV channel 16. To access Zoom, please refer to the agenda or the city's website for the meeting link. To join by phone, dial 1-929-205-6099, meeting ID 899-8810-5763, password 578727. We previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting through the public postings. Instructions have also been provided on the Nashua City's website at www.nashuanh.gov and publicly noticed at City Hall and Hunt Memorial Library. If anyone has a problem accessing the meeting via phone or channel 99, please call 603-821-2049 and they will help you connect. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting via the methods I just mentioned, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes that are taken during the meeting shall be done by roll call vote. When the roll is called, please state whether you are alone as to comply with the right to know law. We will start tonight's meeting by having the clerk call a roll. Linda? Are you acting as clerk?
Yes, I'm on mute, sorry. Alderman Dow?
Yes, I am present. I can hear everyone and I am alone.
Alderman Wilshire?
I'm here, I can hear everyone, and I'm alone in this room.
Clerk is present and I'm alone in this room and I can hear everyone. Alderman Clee?
I am alone in this room. I can hear everybody and obviously I'm present.
And Alderwoman Lil?
Here alone, and I can hear the proceedings.
Ms. Raymond?
Hi, I'm here. I'm alone in my car at soccer practice, but I can hear everybody and I have all the materials I need. Thank you.
Ms. Bishop? Is she here? I don't know that I can see everyone. Is she here?
I don't see her.
I don't see her. Ms. Brown?
I am here. I'm alone in the room and I can hear.
Ms. G. Lowe?
I'm here. I'm alone and yes, everything's fine. I can hear everything.
And did I say that correctly this time? G. Lowe?
Gilio.
Gilio.
Sheila.
It doesn't matter.
I know.
Don't worry.
It does matter though. All right, Ms. Brown, Ms. Johnson, I'm sorry.
I'm here. I'm alone in my car. I'm going to be going into my house and I'm going to be setting everything up on my computer. I can hear everyone at this point in time. Who knows? I could have a computer failure when I get in.
We have 9 in attendance and we have a quorum.
All right, we have a quorum. Thank you. All right. So roll call. Yeah, if there are no objections, I will waive the reading of the minutes of the meeting of April 22nd, 2021 and place them on file. Remarks by the chairman. A couple things. We had a walkthrough today at Fairgrounds Middle School and checked off all the blocks for we're finishing up that school. It will be done this summer. We hope to have a tour late August with both the probably open to this committee as well as the full Board of Aldermen and full Board of Education. And then sometime in September, we'll have the dedication when everything is done. The other thing that I wanted to mention is Pennachuck, the site, as soon as the school closes, because of the major construction going on at Pennachuck and the fact that the solar farm is being built by the Pennachuck, we are going to be closing that site down entirely. We are going to provide access to the track and the field via coming across the bridge over Henry Burke, but we don't want anyone walking or cars. It's a hard hat area, and with cranes and vehicles moving around and digging going on and cement trucks and everything, and heaven knows what's going to be going on with the solar farm. They're going to be using big machines to flatten the area out and provide something to put the solar farm on and all that stuff. So the Pennachuck site will be shut down, and there will be signs indicating such. Also, the other thing tonight, the furniture for Fairgrounds is going to come up. We found out today that furniture deliveries orders that were 4 weeks are now extended to 10 weeks. And we have to order them right away. So I'm going to ask for permission to extend up to the guaranteed maximum price budget for furniture amount, and that will come up later, to be able to expend that and before the next meeting, because we have to get it on order in the next couple of days or it won't be there for the start of school, which will provide more of a problem for 5 people on this committee. None of them aldermen. So we don't want to have that happen. So with that, anyone on the school administration side want to provide anything? Mr. Smith?
Yeah, just to note that you received an updated agenda and financials yesterday afternoon. I'd say a little bit after 4 o'clock. It was emailed to everybody. So particularly when we get to the invoices, that's the paperwork you should use.
Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
Could I just ask a quick question about Pennachuck?
sure.
Is anyone on the call here that knows whether the tennis courts will also remain available?
No, tennis courts and the basketball court will not be available.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah,
that will start after school gets out?
Soon as school gets out, because the only way to access those is to go across the hard hat area.
Okay.
But they will allow people to go that want to walk on the track or use the fields in the back.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, seeing
Yeah.
that that's been brought up, may I ask one quick question?
Certainly, Alderman Clee.
Thank you. You said that they'd be able to go over the bridge and go to the track. Are you going to be creating a pathway? Because right now they go down
A fenced pathway.
Okay, so what I'm asking is when they come down the hill, will they still come down the paved area of the hill versus having to come down the grassy area of the hill? I would assume maybe Harvey might know that, how they're going to work
Yeah,
that out.
They will start down the paved way and then connect, but they'll have to go across the grass.
That's fine. I just worry about them coming down the grassy area. Obviously that's my ward, and I walk our dogs and so on there quite often, and it can get very slippery because it's slightly steep. So as long as they're staying on that pathway, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I made it a point to the Harvey Construction that you were the ward alderman and I wasn't.
I'm the cranky one, yes.
So all calls go to Alderman Clee. Just kidding. Anyway, any other remarks by school administration? Mr. Parker, do you have anything? Nope. Okay. All right. Items for discussion. We're going to start with the architect's report. Is Ken? There he is. Ken? I'm sorry.
I'll play
Architect
architect.
report.
I'll play
Jamie,
architect today.
Sorry.
Want to
Get
switch
carried
roles
away.
tonight, Jamie?
We called you an engineer earlier. Now we're
That's right. Can you hear me okay? I know my microphone was having problems earlier.
Yes.
Okay, great. Good evening, everyone. So I'll start off real briefly on and I don't have a presentation tonight. I'm going to verbally share what's been happening over the past month. I don't have any pretty pictures like last time, so I thought some of those may not be necessary today. So over at Fairgrounds, as Alderman Dowd had mentioned, we've been working on the furniture package, and that is being issued to bid effective tomorrow. We're prepping the last steps of it tonight and tomorrow morning to get it into the bidder's hands tomorrow. And that'll be advertised at the same time. Mr. Smith and I have been reviewing the advertising process, and it'll be posted on the city website or the school's website, and then as well as distributed to some vendors that have already expressed interest in that. I'm going to come back to the furniture in a moment. I'd like to cover all the summary of items going on, and then we'll talk about the furniture a little bit further, as Alderman Dowd had mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Over on Pennachuck, we've been finalizing some color selections in the gymnasium with Principal Fazzarano and the athletics department. Submittals have been coming in from Harvey, and we're selecting some of the colors that are going in. Similar to what has been going into Fairgrounds, they're using their school colors to kind of do the new bleachers and the divider curtain and items like that. And then we've also been coordinating with Principal Fazzarano on some of the final color choices of a couple paint pieces and a couple flooring items, and that has been shared with Harvey, and it's ready to go when they're ready to start applying those products in a little short period of time here. And then one other item that's come up a little bit recently is adding additional parking near the Learning Commons. There was some, it's been expressed that we want to maximize as many parking spaces as possible. And it was determined that we are about 5 spaces short of what the building land use ordinances would allow. And so for the interim, we have reached out to the planning department, and they are willing to do an administrative review to allow for additional 5 spaces, which would maximize the amount allowed based on that land use ordinance. It does not mean that additional parkings can't be reviewed later. It just means it'll be a different process. It'll have to probably go back to planning potentially, and also would have to go back to the New Hampshire DES, Department of Environmental Services, and have a alteration of terrain review. And
that's
so
at Pennachuck.
Yeah, I'm on Pennachuck now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
I probably didn't transition well. Sorry about that. So the color selections in the gym, that was about Pennachuck too. So that is a possibility later, but for the time being, we're going to make sure that we maximize the amount of parking that's allowed currently in there in that school. Okay, so that's those 2 schools. Over at the new middle school, Harriman continues to work on construction documents for a late June bid set. We did just recently issue a 90% review set to the Nashua School District and Harvey, and some other key reviewers to kind of review the documents and kind of make sure that we're on track or there's no additional changes that are needed. And so that's going quite well. And again, it's another month until those hit the street for Harvey to Price. On May 13th, Harriman met with the BEEP and the middle school steering committee meeting, and did a presentation of what the entire middle school's project status kind of was, and then also went into a little deeper look at the new middle school and what that was beginning to look like, so that they were aware and could start doing the planning that's needed for that process.
Mr. Parker, did you want to add something?
No, I was just saying I thought it was a very successful
Okay.
meeting. And we had talked beforehand, Jamie and I think it quelled a lot of anxiety. Sometimes teachers, we start, perseverating before we really have a reason to. And so it was good to see that, to go get that granular so they
Yeah.
can actually see it. So we appreciate that. And Jamie and I debriefed afterwards. And so thank you for that.
Oh, absolutely. It was our pleasure. And it really was nice to reach out and make sure that it makes everybody else's job on this meeting here today a little easier with the more people that know, the more comfortable people feel with the process. And so we also ended up following up with the new principal, new to us. We haven't had the opportunity to meet with the new principal at Elm Street School. So on May 25th, which was just this week, we met up with the principal there and had basically done the same thing and reviewed the process in depth and looked at particulars inside the new middle school and had some discussions and topics of concern or things that he's hearing from his staff. And he seemed to be very, very appreciative of that meeting, and it was well warranted, and it was nice to have a really nice conversation with him. He's actually the third principal we've had the opportunity to review with on Elm Street, so it was nice to catch up with him. And then we actually, I wanted to also mention that we discussed having a staff update to that staff, but it was best decided that we'd wait till fall at that time. That'll be a good time for his staff. He had for the past week, I've been having a lot of correspondence with the Tech Ed Lab teachers for the Elm Street School, trying to get a final layout on that and coordinating the equipment that needs to go into that space. Tomorrow, and actually previously and tomorrow, we'll be having a door hardware meeting, reviewing the door hardware and the controlling of how the door should be. That'll be with facilities and safety and security in order to make sure that school is as safe as we can possibly make it for the door hardware portion of it. And then one other topic on the new middle school I want to make sure I mentioned is that there was a lot line relocation that made its way to the planning board last week for the track and field space that was going onto the adjacent city property. And that received approval last week, which was great news. So that means we can proceed with the track and field as it's been oriented for a while here. We just want to make sure that was a formal process that occurred. So that was really good news there. Okay, so those are the updates on the three schools. I'm gonna go back to the Fairgrounds Middle School and talk about the furniture package over there.
Yeah, just before you go there,
Sure.
the Ward 6 Alderman will be happy to know that on the gymnasium at Fairgrounds that we have put in wider doors for easier handicap access, particularly in the vote when they're having the voting there. So there won't be any issues, anybody trying to access with a wheelchair or other activity. Those doors are already in and the whole gymnasium is being redone. So Alderman Lou.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderman Dowd. I just want to point out, I don't think that anyone made a note that Ms. Bishop is here.
I was going to, she joined at 7:17.
Okay, great.
Okay, continue, Jamie.
Sure. So as Alderman Dowd indicated, we were given word just this morning. Actually, we've been planning to issue the furniture bid package actually tomorrow all along. We've been coordinating with the principal and her staff for at least the better part of a month here, if not longer, probably much longer than that, but really focused deeply into the selections over the past month. And we got a phone call this morning that from the furniture vendor that we've been reviewing the process with here, and they've noted that the lead times for furniture have increased significantly just over the past. Well, he made it sound like over the past week, but we don't. It seems like everything's gotten over the past few months here, but and it increased from 4 weeks to 10 weeks for most furniture, and that's not all furniture, but that's most furniture. And so that set a little light into our eyes this morning on, boy, you do the math on bidding process and approvals for the JSSBC, and then the 10 weeks from that point, that puts us into the beginning of September. And so discussing with Alderman Dowd and Mr. Smith and Principal Coffey, we're trying to strategize on ways that we could possibly benefit or not benefit, but or create a better scenario here. And so one of the options was to request a not to exceed approval from the board here tonight, utilizing the budget that has been set aside for furniture since kind of the day one inception of this process of the project. And that budget is $423,300.
Say again, Jamie?
Yep. $423,375. So that's 423,375.
Okay, so now I'd like to entertain a motion to allow expenditure of the budgeted amount of $423,375 for furniture for Fairgrounds Middle School, and allow the chairman to sign the bids, keeping in mind that the bids will be the low bidder unless there is something wrong with the low bidder, and it would be reviewed by the chairman and Mr. Smith for approval. Would somebody like to so make that motion?
So moved.
Okay, I think that was Alderman Clee.
Yes.
And any discussion on that? Oh, Mr. Smith, you don't want to be a reviewer?
No, I just want to comment on the amount. So if you look at your financial sheets under FF&E, which is furnishings, fixtures, and equipment.
For Fairgrounds.
For Fairgrounds, it's $428,375.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Okay, $428,375. Alderman Clee, you all set with that number? Yes, by the way, we won't expend that much if we don't have to. It depends on the bids, and we won't exceed it because it's not to exceed. Mrs. Johnson?
Thank you. No, you just answered my question, not to exceed. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, no carte blanches here.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so if there are no other concerns or questions, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Dow,
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire,
Yes.
Clerk says yes, Alderman Clee,
Yes.
and Alderwoman Wu.
Yes.
Ms. Raymond,
Yes.
Ms. Bishop,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Gio,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. And Jamie, you have your marching orders.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, and
Great.
that's all I had tonight. If anybody has any questions.
Any other questions for the architect? Okay, in that case, we'll go to the construction manager's report, Harvey Construction. Ken, you got a presentation to tee up?
Everybody hear me and see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. So thank you, Alderman Dowd. So I'll just give a quick update on all the progress that we're making over at Fairgrounds. I know you already mentioned a few of the items, and Jamie touched on some of them as well. So we actually have some nice updates at Pennachuck this week too. So I'll give a quick run through, and anybody has any questions, feel free to jump in, and I'll do my best to answer them. So starting off at Pennachuck, so this is for those, and I know that I've seen a lot of you over there. This is what the site currently looks like with the construction fencing in the orange area that you see. So we have a pretty intricate bus loop set up with a lot of cones and a lot of Jersey barriers and signage. So it's been a busy 6 weeks, and it took a lot of coordination between Principal Falzarano, his staff, the folks in this group, and the construction workers and the staff to make this work. So we have to get through the next 2 weeks, and then as Alderman Dowd mentioned, we'll be shutting down the site for the summer. So just to answer the question, if you see where my cursor is in the bottom right corner, where the Henry Burke Highway access is, we'll basically carry this fence all the way across. So they'll be able to still utilize the asphalt walkway, and then we'll carry this fence all the way across to the gate, so that the users can utilize the track. And then we'll extend the construction fencing that's currently at the front of the school to Old Harris Road, and coordinate with the solar farm work that'll be going on this summer as well. So we'll have construction signage up. It'll be an obvious and active construction site, and I'm sure we'll be able to, if we need to tinker and move any fencing to accommodate any of the folks that are there, we'll certainly be doing that. I know Principal Falzarano is going to be in and out with various staff throughout the summer, so that's just something we're just going to have to coordinate with, and we'll get through the summer, and then I'll show everybody in next month's meeting. I'll show what it's going to look like when we get back in the fall. So I just wanted to give everybody an update to show what it looked like in the summer, what it'll look like in the summertime versus what it currently looks like now. So just to reiterate, this will be in place until the end of school. We're going to be leaving this in place till the end of that week. So I believe that date is June 18th. This will be in place because there's various staff and teachers that want to pack up for the summer. We want to make sure that we give them adequate parking and access to make sure they can close out their year successfully. So just another item that we'll be coordinating. So just on the construction side of things, we did complete the northeast parking lot. So I kind of inserted in an overlay. I know it's kind of tough to see, but this is kind of the new layout of part of the final design that's in place. Part of the reason that we had to get that done ahead of actual building construction was the new south addition is actually taking over the parking spots that are at the south of the school. So that was a big milestone to get through, and thank you to everybody for working with us. I know it's definitely as soon as the kids and the faculty got back to school, they had to deal with us making a mess up front. So that was definitely a good effort on all parts. So basically so now that is done, we were able to establish our construction area and begin work on the south addition. So I'm sure you'll see some photos. Part of that work is stripping the existing asphalt and topsoil and grass, establishing the subgrade to install all of the utilities, and prep for paving sidewalks and islands before the students return in the fall. And we've actually, you'll see in the pictures coming up that we've begun the foundations for the new south addition. So it's nice to kind of see the shape of the new building that you're gonna be getting at the end of the project. We are tracking to start erecting steel for the south addition, the new chorus room, and the boiler room in mid-July. So we've locked in those dates actually this morning, and so you'll really get to see the building start to take shape. So if anyone has been to the job site, this is what that new parking lot looks like. The photo in the upper right-hand corner is just kind of, we've all seen what a parking lot looks like before the asphalt goes down. So you'll see that the new curbing and the new islands have been installed. We're going to hold off on installing any of the plantings and whatnot until next summer. We will be installing the light poles this summer to make sure that there's adequate lighting on the site. We also want to hold off on doing any of the final paving until next summer, so we don't damage anything while we're still on site working. You'll notice that the parking lots are striped for parking, so that's just temporary striping, just so the users know where to go. And we will again come through next summer and touch up everything up as we kind of wrap stuff up on site.
Just so you notice on the upper left-hand corner of that picture, you see where where the new solar field's gonna go. It's 4 acres they've cut down. And they're gonna be leveling that and doing heaven knows what, so they put the solar panels in. But that's a Pennachuck Water Company project.
I mentioned the various cones for the site logistics and the temporary bus loop. I know I've seen a few of you there, especially I think I've seen Miss Raymond in her large truck driving through here. So, you know, we try to do our best with all the signage. You can see here we have where the buses enter and where the parents enter. So I've been out there a few days directing traffic. We do our best, and I think everybody's used to it now. There's still a few offenders, but I think we've established a good routine, and we'll continue to do that as we finish these last 2 or 3 weeks of school. Here are some early photos of the foundations before they were placed at the South Addition. You can since then we've placed about 60 to 70% of the foundations and the walls for the new building. As I mentioned, we're going to be ready for steel in July, so we're moving along quite nicely. And I should have some nice photos next month to kind of show our progress here. That's really it for Pennachuck at the moment. I'll have more information on the logistics on how things are going to look in the fall next month, and then I'll have some more pictures for progress for where we are on site there.
So Ken, you wanted to tell them when the similar work is going to be done on the other side of the school?
For the
North Addition. When's that starting?
The North Addition is tracking to finish 1 month after the South Addition, so that'll be in April of 2022. So we're basically working our way around the site. So when the students return in the fall, we will have the parking areas established. So we won't have any more temporary bus loops and parent loops and confusing signage. It'll be the final design for the most part, and we'll just have construction fencing around, just strictly around our work areas.
And you can see why this area is total hard hat area once school closes.
So moving over to Fairgrounds, give a quick update. I know Jamie mentioned a few things earlier. So right now we're just addressing some of the punch list items that Jamie and his team had put together for us to address. This is on in the previously completed areas. So a lot of those items we really can't get to until the summertime once the kids are out of school. Just try to keep our workers separated from the folks in the school while they're in their learning. So a lot of painting items in the common areas and the hallways will be addressed at that time. So right now we're really focusing on completing the remaining. We did complete the science rooms, the center octagon area, the new admin area entrance. You'll see the photos coming up. The staff has chosen to move in during the summertime. So Principal Coffee is very excited to move into her new office. And right now we're working on the new gymnasium. There's I think there's 3 remaining science rooms, and we'll be wrapping up the exterior site furnishings, miscellaneous cleanup and landscaping items. So over the next 2 months or so, we're really going to be demobilizing and getting things looking nice, and hopefully you'll never know we were there, except for the positive things.
Ken, the portables are also going to be going off this summer.
Correct. Those are actually leaving the job site in the next 3 weeks. So the week of the 21st, the portables will be decommissioned and removed offsite. Here's an example of the new wood canopy at the front entrance. Just a kind of a cool looking detail as you enter the new addition. Next month we'll have the plantings installed, so we'll be able to see the new courtyard and kind of garden entrance area with the new benches. It's really going to be a nice new entry to the front of the school.
And that's cedar, so it's going to last. Alderman Lou, did you have a question?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Mr. Chairman. How extensive is the camera, the security cameras throughout the building? Are they in each room or just the hallways?
Sean, you want to cover that?
Yeah, they are not in each room. They're just in hallways, critical areas where there might be dead zones. For example, in each of the 3 classroom wings, we put a camera on each end because the lockers, when the kids are all in there at the same time, it's hard to see at either end of them. So it's just in hallways and of course around the exterior of the building at key locations.
Yeah, there's 360-degree coverage around the exterior of high-def cameras, which I believe we have tied into the police department as well, right, Sean?
Yeah, if they so choose, they have an app that they can pull up.
Right.
Is this new? The school didn't have it before, correct?
Not as extensively.
Yeah, okay.
But
Thank you.
I'm just going to jump in here. All of our schools have some sort of security package regarding cameras. And many of those were updated over the last, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years with grants from the Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really great security upgrades that have been done.
Along with the secure vestibules. I don't know if
Yep.
Right. Thank
I don't
you.
know if you have any pictures of those, Ken, but on the other side of those doors is a secure vestibule.
Not in this presentation, but I
Okay.
can pull one up after. Be on the spot. Here's an example of the new multi-use bathroom. These are in the new addition. Just as you enter the school through the new entrance. So these are open and fully in use. As you can see, it's a very nice upgrade to what was in place before, and I think people seem to be utilizing them, and they do look really nice. So it's a nice part of the entry to the school.
Yeah, if anybody remembered the old ones, this is a huge upgrade.
Here's some photos of the new main office and admin area. So this first photo on the left, you'll see is kind of a standing behind the main desk, looking out into the main corridor. So standing behind this desk over here on the right, that's kind of what the view is there. So you can see there's large, nice windows there. A lot of open space. Here's another view of the behind the desk right here in the main office. And here's you can see that this is a nice corner office right here. I don't know, Principal Coffee might want this office. That's the one I would pick right there.
I think she wants the bigger one.
Right, yeah, I know the one she wants.
Ken, in that last video, I apologize for stepping in, but on that to the bottom right photo, you're looking into the secure vestibule from the admin space.
Right.
Yeah, there's that glass is bulletproof glass. There's a microphone. When somebody comes into the vestibule, they're stuck in that vestibule until they get buzzed into the school. So the secretary there will find out why they're there, get them badged up, and so nobody can just inadvertently walk into the school.
Yeah, for those of you who have been to Pennachuck, it's the exact same design. Same type of window, same type of hardware and millwork. So it is really nice. It looks really clean. It's just we're still kind of working in the vestibule on the other side of the glass. So I wanted to get some clean pictures for you folks tonight. Here's another area of the admin. This is all the new teachers' mailbox and cabinetry. So this is a nice function. This is actually Principal Coffee's office right here in the corner here, a large office. Here's a view down the corridor as you kind of enter through from the in-house suspension room. And this is actually the in-house suspension room here in the bottom right.
Being fully used already.
Yeah, we saw some. I spent a lot of time there. Here's a kind of a workroom area, and this is kind of like a staff, kind of like a staff lounge area. There's some cabinetry. There's a little kind of kitchenette, coffee makers in there. And here's another view of a middle office here. I think this is the vice principal's office. This is Jeff Arbogast's office right here. So again, we're going through and addressing. There are some minor punch list items that that Harriman has come through and issued to us, and we're addressing those now that we're able to get back into the space. But I think everyone's going to be really happy with this new area. Here's an example of some of the work that goes into renovating a science room. A lot of the islands and a lot of the new cabinetry has sinks for islands that just weren't there. So that requires a lot of saw cutting and messy, dirty work. So this is I just wanted to show what goes into putting a sink in a spot where there wasn't a sink. So this is a lot of the stuff, and kudos to Principal Coffee and the staff at Fairgrounds. They've allowed us to do a lot of this work during the school day, and they've been really helpful. If it's ever too loud, we shut work right down. We want to make sure we don't want to interfere with what's going on in the school day, but they've been really helpful, and they've been great to work with. So they've been a big help since the students have been back. So Alderman Dowd mentioned the gymnasium. So this photo on the left, this is the old gym floor that's coming up. So that's what the demolition looks like. It's not pretty, but the photo on the right here, this is after that demolition has been completed and the new slab has been placed. So on top of that slab goes the new gymnasium athletic floor. Alderman Dowd noted that we did install 2 new ADA entrances that would pretty much be helpful during any of the public events and voting that takes place there. So just right now we're working on the new doors are being wrapped up. The windows have been installed. You can see in this photo, the new windows have not been installed, but they are in now. We're just working on the miscellaneous mechanical, electrical, plumbing items in the space as well. So when we turn this gym over at the end of July, it'll be complete end of July, early August. It'll have new bleachers, 6 new motorized basketball hoops, all new wall padding, volleyball equipment, new wood athletic floor, divider curtain, and new paint job ceiling and walls. And one cool item, it was we coordinated with the athletic director, and we're putting together a shop drawing for the new custom paint job with the Falcons logo and school colors. So that'll be a really nice space for everyone when they come back to school in the fall. So I'll have more photos of this next month as well. And then here's a space that we already previously turned over. This is the drafting and robotics classroom area. I didn't really have any more complete photos, but this is before the students moved in. They're already utilizing the space, but I think the photo on the left really shows that cool open area that Harriman designed in this space. So they seem to be liking it, and it's an interesting learning space. So that's it for pictures of the construction progress. Any questions regarding Fairgrounds?
Any questions from anyone so far for Harvey? Alderman Lou?
Was the last picture we saw, was that in the octagon?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And I took a picture today when there were no students there, because you can't take pictures of students, with all the tables and chairs and stuff that they are using that space already.
Looks really nice.
Oh, it's amazing. And you can see the distributed air. The
Wow.
airflow comes in along the floor and goes and gets lifted up and out, and it's fresh air all the time. We won't get into it, but it's at least 16 times more air than the old way. Also works very well for COVID. Not that we did it just for that, but okay. Do you want to get into your change order?
Sure. Get out of this here. Okay, so I think most of this group is familiar with the prime contract change order process here. So I'm presenting to the group for the approval tonight. This change order is comprised of previously approved potential change orders. A lot of these with like with Fairgrounds, these are unforeseen items that come about during the beginning of the project. So there are 4 new items that are part of this change order. Just want to note that all of these items have been reviewed internally by Harvey, Harriman, and the school department team members. So these have all been properly vetted out by the construction team, and everyone's had adequate input and has previously approved these items, but you folks are the deciding factor. So I'll run through each of these 4 items. 3 of them have costs. One of them is a $0 change order, and I'll kind of explain to that.
Yeah, before that, Ken, all of these costs are covered under contingency and our original budget. This does not require any additional bonding money. Good.
All right, so the first PCO that I'll be going through is PCO number 4, and this was a proposal request that was issued by Harriman during the submittal process. And so during the submittal process for the masonry brick ties, the structural members that hold the brick to the actual structure of the building, it was discovered that due to a factor of safety and requirement, it was required to upgrade the adjustable brick anchors at the veneer of the new additions. So that's where this change originated during this process. So this cost includes a professional engineer stamp to ensure that that the anchors are being properly installed and properly spaced during construction, and the other part of the cost is the upcharge in the material. So the total value for this change order is $19,359.25, and that is a portion of. This has all been reviewed by this group, and that is a portion of this full PCCO number 2. Does anybody have any questions on what this change is?
Okay, next.
PCO number 5 is for additional dumpster tipping fees. So typically, all city projects that we perform with the city, all of the construction waste that's generated on site is sent directly to the Nashua landfill at no cost to the project. This is something that we kind of assume at GMP time. For instance, at Fairgrounds, all of the construction and demolition waste was sent to the Public Works landfill. But however, once we started construction at Pennachuck, after the GMP was agreed upon by this group, we are notified that they are no longer accepting our construction and demolition waste, but they will accept concrete waste. So what this number is, this is just a budget number to cover the cost for the duration of the project for our construction waste that will be generated.
For Pennachuck.
This is strictly for Pennachuck only.
So I'll cover some of the explanation. I got a call from Director Photo. The material that can be actually dumped in our landfill, they will still accept at no cost. the type of material we're talking about here is material that the landfill would then have to hire somebody to truck off. So it's a double expenditure on the city. So it's less expensive for the city for us to cover this way than to have it go to the landfill and have them spend even more money to have it sent off. This is material that can't be dumped in our landfill. Are there any questions on that? Well, Mrs. Johnson?
Thank you. What kind of material is this that it can't be dumped in the landfill?
Ken, you want to address the type of material?
Sure, this is all, so any concrete, as far as if there's old, if there's concrete waste, or if there's existing foundations that we're demolishing and shipping off site, we can dump in the city landfill. But as far as anything generated, any construction debris, any demolition that is generated from the inside of the school, any waste from the new construction that is going, those are the items that are no longer being accepted by the town landfill. So any and all materials that are generated through the course of construction.
Okay, can you be a little bit more elaborate? Because you could take some of the older stuff, the concrete. So, I mean, would this be like asbestos or anything like that we wouldn't be able to put in the landfill?
No, it's basically like scrap materials that will be generated. It's really nothing asbestos, nothing contaminated. That's all separate.
Yeah.
That's all a separate bucket of.
It would be like if you took down the suspended ceiling and all those metal pieces.
Okay, so is this kind of going to scrap metal company?
Yeah, so it's cheaper for the city for this project to send it directly to somebody than for us to move it over to landfill and then have another expenditure to truck it off to that same company. So
I guess if we're sending it out to scrap metal, do we get paid for any of the scrap metal? Because I mean, you send vehicles out for scrap metal, or is this any?
Yeah, not this kind of scrap metal.
Okay.
If we had beams or something like that, that'd be a different story.
Okay, just asking.
Yeah.
Oh, and again, just to reiterate, this is just a budget number. So any unused funds will be returned to the city at the end of the project.
Right, we wouldn't have come back for another dip on this, so that's why it's the high number. Alderman Clee?
Thank you. Just for clarification, when Director Photo contacted you and said that if we were to bring it to the landfill and no one paid for it to go to landfill, like as if another construction site did it, then the city would then have to pay a fee for it to go to a third party.
Well,
so let me see if I.
With another construction company, they would have to pay a tipping fee. We're
right,
not paying
exactly.
tipping fees.
Right. So that was what I was trying to clarify, is that another construction company would pay the tipping fee. And even though we would move that off site, the tipping fee would cover our cost to move it off site, correct?
Right. We don't pay any fees to bring anything to the landfill.
Okay. So that's what all this is. It's not just, it's not that it's any kind of, as pointed out, it was not a asbestos or anything like that. It's just
No. Any kind of contaminated materials handled completely separately by a whole different process.
Right. But I guess that the point I was trying to make is any other construction site would be paying a tipping fee, which we would then use to take it off site.
Right. They would basically be covering the cost of the landfill to have to truck it off to wherever it has to go.
And that makes sense. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions on this one? All right, next.
Thank you. The next item here, as part of the, this is the last item that does have cost associated with this change order. This is the ASI number 11, and this was kind of related to site utility modifications. Again, this was another unforeseen item. Before we start any construction, we were required to dig test pits by the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services. And after that was completed, it was found that we were required to revise the original stormwater design to adhere to local code. So this change order captures those required costs associated with the change. We had to modify specific structures, order new material, do additional digging. So this is another unforeseen item that was required by code. So the cost that is shown here, $11,891.72, captures all of the required facets of this change order.
Again, that's why we have these contingencies to cover the unknown unknowns. So now we'll need a motion a motion to accept PCCO?
I do have one more item to
Okay.
present, and then I'll present the full value of PCCO number 2. Are there any questions on PCO number 6?
Nope.
Okay. PCO number 7, this is kind of a bookkeeping thing. This actually does not affect Pennachuck or the Fairgrounds project. This change order is comprised of adjusted labor rates for Harvey Construction. Every few years or so, we have to kind of reevaluate the different labor rates that are attached to various projects. So this is just something that's going to be amended to the original agreement with the city of Nashua. This is a $0 change. This is will be reflected in the new middle school GMP. We just wanted to make sure that we could get this included in the original contract for bookkeeping purposes. Is there anything that you wanted to add, Carl, to that?
Contractually, we reserve the right to review them annually. As you stated, we've we've gone 2 years without the increase and presented both GMPs that way. Looking at where we are on the new middle school and the projection out, that's what this does. Contractually, this changes the rules to change into the prime contract so that if it's ever audited, people can actually see where the change was made and then the change going forward in the billing cycle. So it's more of a paperwork, trying to keep the paperwork all square if the project was ever audited.
Any questions? Alderwoman Lou?
When do these new rates take effect?
The new rates will take effect on the new middle school, not what we're under contract for GMPs with Fairgrounds and or Pennachuck. So it's just a new middle school.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, Ken, so we want a motion to accept PCCO number 2?
Correct. So that will that'll include those 4 PCOs that I just described to the group, 4, 5, and 6, or 4, 5, 6, and 7, for a total value of $65,434.47.
So I'd like to have a motion to accept PCCO number 2, covering PCOs number 4, 5, 6, and 7 for a dollar amount of $65,434.47. Who would like to make that motion?
So moved.
Mrs. Raymond made the motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none with the, did you have a question, Alderwoman Lou?
It's 65,000, is that correct? I thought I had heard 67, but I just thought I'd.
$65,434.47.
Thank you. That's all.
All right. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Dow,
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire,
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderman Cleve,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
Ms. Raymond,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. G. Leo,
Yes, thank you.
Ms. Johnson. Is she still on?
Johnson?
Yeah, Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
okay.
All right, that passes. Anything else, Ken?
That's it for me. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, next item is the Franklin Street update. Mr. Smith?
Yes, good evening. So apologize in advance to all the Board of Ed members. They've already heard all this, in fact, as recently as last night, but certainly for the Board of Alderman members, if not. So I'll keep it brief though. So the school department bought 55 Franklin Street a couple of months ago. We actually closed on the building. And the purpose of that purchase was to house all our preschool students and also our alternate high school program, also known as the Brentwood. The lease for the Brentwood runs out the end of this June. And we're having overcrowding in the elementary schools, so this will help with that situation. As part of those moves, we're also ending our lease with I think it's called the First Church, the Title I program we have there. That lease also expires on June 30th. And those students are actually going to be going to Broad Street, and they'll be taking the place of the preschool students coming to Franklin Street. So that's the background on why we bought the building. The building is built 1972. Originally was by Nashua Corp, and is actually built very well. It's built to last. Board of Ed members have had a tour of it. I'll be happy to set that up for any of the aldermen on this committee if you wish. So our plan, it's 4 stories. Our plan is to have the preschoolers on first and second floors and the high schoolers on the 3rd floor. Basement is a large assembly type room and some sort of other spaces, which we don't have a specific plan for as yet. So our task, I'm going to call it phase 1. So phase 1 of the renovations are to get the facility ready for this coming school year. And much of that work's being done in-house by my crew and with a series of small contracts. We're going to be installing a brand new fire alarm, public address system, intercom system, IT network, telephone system, fresh paint job, cleaning it from top to bottom. And what's going on currently is some abatement, primarily in the boiler room. The facility is a bit, unfortunately, has a lot of asbestos in it, which you can imagine would occur for a building built in late 60s, early 70s. But we'll get through that. The other piece that we're working on is flooring. Some of the carpets there are in pretty sad shape, so we're going to replace those. The preschool program is looking at playground equipment to put on the outside. I do invite you to just drive by. You'll see that from the outside, the building looks very nice. It's fenced in on 3 sides. That's obviously where the preschoolers are going to be. We hope to eventually have some sort of outdoor facility for the high school students on the western side, which also I call that the riverside. So one of the issues that we've had that kind of cropped up after we were well into this project is the having preschoolers on the 2nd floor and high schoolers on the 3rd floor. And the fire marshal indicated that they cannot share same egress paths. So let me digress a little bit. Before that, we had Harriman, the architect for this middle school project, also do an assessment of the building for us last summer and into the fall, which aided in our decision to purchase the building. So we have a lot of background on it. During that process, the need for additional stairwells for egress never came up. But it has since come up. You cannot have high schoolers, for lack of a better term, it sounds a little extreme, but you can have high schoolers trampling preschoolers in stairwells during an evacuation of the building. Everybody can see that, I'm sure. So as a result, we cannot put preschool classrooms on the 2nd floor until we have an alternate means of egress for the high school students from the 3rd floor. We asked Harriman to come up with some designs. They did so. They effectively created two exterior, I call them towers on either side of the building, and they're mainly steel construction and require a lot of different trades work. So to me, that was a little bit beyond my comfort level in plant operations, managing that sort of process. It dealt with a lot of issues that joint special typically does. And that's why that was the first reason why I wanted this to come to this committee to deal with. The other aspect of this is the ventilation system is pretty much original to the building. We thought when we purchased it that we would get to it over time. But we've got the ESSER money, or the COVID money as it were, that will help us with this. And we think we can attack that much sooner. So that's certainly a funding source for anything dealing with ventilation, and a lot of the electrical upgrades that were necessary for the ventilation. So my plan is to, by the next meeting, I'll send all of you the assessment that Harriman originally did. And then I'll be working with Harriman to come up with a scope of work, the proposed scope of work for this group. We'll call it phase 2. And that's what proposed this committee will be working on going forward. I think I'll stop there and see if there's any questions at this point. So the plan would be to try to do all of this between now and beginning of the following school year, if possible.
Okay. So last night, did the Board of Education vote to have this sent to the joint special?
They did.
Okay. So the school board is asking joint special to take this project under its wing. It'll be 2 phases. The major part of it probably won't be till phase 2. But unless there are any objections, I don't know if we have to take a vote on this or not, but if somebody wanted to so move that the joint special accept the Franklin Street School project to be under our purview, then we could vote on it. Anyone
So
want?
moved. I'll
So
do it.
moved.
So moved from Heather.
All right, Mrs. Raymond made the motion. Any discussion? Alderwoman Lou?
Thank you. Is there any, could you just clarify what taking this new project on would mean? I mean, is it just what this committee is basically meant?
Yes, it's this joint special school building committee. So there's a lot of construction involved in this Franklin Street property. That's what they want to send over to the joint special. And we will handle it just like we are all the school projects.
Okay.
And if right now they have a plan for funding, if there's any additional funding they need, they have to go through the Board of Aldermen, but that money would then come to the joint special. But right now, we're just saying that we will take on the project and work with Mr. Smith and the school department to get these changes done to the Franklin Street building. Any other questions or concerns? This is Giulio.
Hi, maybe this is a very silly question, but I was not able to go on the tour when the rest of the Board of Ed went. So I'd like very much if I could be included when you arrange a tour for the aldermen, if that would be okay. And my question, since I was not on the tour, is it sounds like this was a building used for adults. And having worked with little tiny people a lot, I assume that there's been some renovation of the bathrooms for these little tiny people that will be there.
That's part of the renovations, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So if I could.
Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, most recently, actually, this was run as a school by the Nashua Christian Academy.
Oh, okay.
It's been dormant for a couple of years. But I don't know for sure what grade levels they had. But yes, to your point, we are going to look at the fixtures and assure they're appropriate for preschoolers.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Seeing none, would clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Dow,
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lowe,
Yes.
Ms. Freeman,
Yes.
Ms. Bishop,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. G. Leo,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries. So we will add that to our agenda. And I'm sure we'll be getting more information from Mr. Smith as time goes on, and I'm sure he'll arrange a time for anyone to tour the Franklin Street building. Okay, anything else, Mr. Smith?
That's it for Franklin Street. We're ready for invoices.
Invoices.
Okay, I will go through the invoices. I'll actually be reading them from your most recent agenda that was sent to you yesterday. I'll start with Harriman. We have 3 invoices, one for each of the 3 middle schools. As you can tell from the amounts, most of their work is concentrated on the new middle school. And Fairgrounds is fading to the bottom of the money barrel. Penachuk is still kind of somewhere in the middle. So there are 3 invoices totaling $164,327.93. Harvey has 2 invoices, one for Fairgrounds and one for Penachuk. They have not started on a new middle school, obviously. Those 2 invoices total $1,057,281.64. HSI, also known as Hayner Swanson, has 2 invoices. Hayner Swanson is the company that does our surveying for us. They've been working at Penachuk very much around the new intersection and also the new middle school, particularly the access road and for the lot line relocation, which we talked about earlier tonight. So 2 invoices from Hayner Swanson totaling $13,681.88. John Turner Consulting, that's our testing firm. So they make sure when asphalt is poured, it's the proper temperature. When the cement is also poured, it has the proper consistency. When the steel is welded, they test that, everything. So they worked at Penachuk, and there's a typo there. It says MSP. That's actually Fairgrounds, should be FMS. 2 invoices for $3,300. Page Street Storage is our ground storage units. We have 2 of them, but we have 1 invoice for $190. Vanessa and Associates are our transportation engineers. They are doing the work at Penachuk to design the intersection at the intersection of Manchester and Ferry Road and the entry to Penachuk Middle School. 1 invoice totaling $2,457.07. Weston Title, that maybe Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, but that had to do with the land that we are currently looking to purchase from the Gagnons. Is that correct?
We had to have an appraisal done.
Yeah. That was the appraisal. It cost $682. That was at the new middle school. And then finally, these William Scotsman are the portable classrooms behind Fairgrounds Middle School. There are 2 of them. So 2 invoices totaling $7,985. All those invoices come to a grand total of $1,249,905.52.
Okay, are there any questions? Would someone, Alderwoman Clee?
think it's really not just a question, it's just more of an observation. When I'm looking at the spreadsheets, I see that as Mr. Smith said, that we're winding down on Fairgrounds, and based on the spreadsheets, we're like about, I think, a little less than $5.1 million remaining balance of the budgeted. Do we look like we're really on budget? Everything is going well. We don't expect to exceed that.
We are not, we are on or ahead of schedule and under budget.
I love to hear that. Thank you so much. And I had no questions on the invoice. It caught my eye and I wanted to ask it.
Or I'd be drinking Pepto-Bismol instead of a Arnold Palmer.
This is why we picked Harvey.
Okay, if there are no other questions, somebody make a motion to accept the invoices to be paid. Alderman Wilshire,
I'll make a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $1,249,505.52.
okay, the motion's been made to pay, Mr. Smith,
That was 905.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Can you give me that total one more time, please? And then I'll. Was it one?
I'll give it, 1,249,905.52.
Okay, I did. Okay, thank you. Alderman Dow,
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire,
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lilly,
Yes.
Ms. Raymond,
Yes.
Ms. Bishop,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Leo,
Yes.
and Ms. Johnson.
Yes.
All right. We'll pay the invoices. All right. Comments by committee members? Any comments by any committee member? Seeing none, I didn't see, unless I missed it. I missed I don't know if there are many members of the public that want to speak. Guess not. Okay. I just want to mention one thing, that that one little piece of land left to secure for the road to the new middle school. Things are going exceptionally well. I hope to have some really good news for everyone next week. Much better than we anticipated. So that will be the last little piece, and then we can set the machine in motion to start working on the new middle school and get all the approvals from the state, which is the one thing that takes forever. Right, Carl? All right, if there are no other questions, would the clerk please make a motion to adjourn?
You're muted.
I move to adjourn. Sorry.
The motion is to adjourn. Would you please call the roll?
Alderman Dow,
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire,
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderman Clee,
Yes.
and Alderwoman Lilly.
Yes.
Ms. Raymond,
Yes.
Ms. Bishop,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Gio,
Yes.
and Ms. Johnson.
Yes.
And we are adjourned at 8:20 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate everybody being here.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Night.
Have a nice weekend.
Yeah.
Memorial Day.